All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to start talking about some other explorers. And the first person we're going to talk about is Cabral. He was a Portuguese explorer who reached the shores of Brazil in about 1500. Another person we need to talk about is Magellan. Are you gelling like Magellan? He was the first explorer to sail around the world. Well, he didn't necessarily make it himself. He ends up dying in a war in the Philippines, but his crew was able to get back on a ship, and in 1522, 18 men on a single ship, Magellan's crew, ended up getting back to Spain successfully. Circumnavigation is one of your key terms that you need to know. It means to sail around something. If you break down this word, we have circum, might kind of look like a circle, and then you have the word navigation. And circumnavigation is a term you need to associate with Magellan. And Magellan's crew was the first to circumnavigate the world. It is Magellan who is credited with circumnavigating the world, when in fact it was just his crew who made it back. All right, some Spanish conquests in Mexico. In 1519, Hernando Cortez landed on the shores of Mexico. Cortez and the Spanish explorers that followed him were known as conquistadors, or conquerors. They were lured by rumors of vast supplies of gold and silver. So the conquistadors decided to establish colonies in Mexico, South America, and what is now known as the U.S. Cortez is going to conquer the Aztecs. So Cortez originally entered the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, and the Aztec king Montezuma thought that Cortez was a god. By the way he looked, the armor that he wore, everything about him was so different than what the Aztecs knew. They thought he was for sure a god. Cortez and his men demanded mass amounts of gold from the Aztecs, and they had claimed that it would help cure them of a disease of the heart. So, of course, the Aztecs are going to give Cortez and his men all of the gold that they possibly could to rid them of this quote unquote disease of the heart. Unfortunately, the Aztecs did not provide Cortez and his men with enough gold, so the Spanish began to murder them. The Aztecs were fighting back, but they were unable to defeat Cortez and his men. Why do you think? Well, there are three reasons why Cortez and his conquistadors conquered the Aztecs. The first one being weapons. Spain had guns and cannons. The Aztecs had arrows and spears. It was no match. The second reason were natives. Cortez was able to convince certain native groups to fight on his side, that he would then protect them. And so some natives fought with Cortez and his men against the Aztecs. The third reason, and the largest reason, that Cortez was able to conquer the Aztecs was by disease. The Aztecs could do very little to fight off Spanish diseases such as measles, mumps, and smallpox. Disease is going to end up killing about 90% of the Native American population. That's 9 out of 10 Native Americans will succumb to disease. Another Spanish conquest is going to happen in Peru. And we're going to have Francisco Pizarro. He is going to march a small force into South America, and he's going to be able to conquer the Incan Empire. And he's going to be able to do it the same way Cortez and his men were able to conquer the Aztecs. Pizarro was easily able to conquer 30,000 Incas with only 200 men. That is quite an amazing feat. But the reasons were because of weapons, natives, and diseases. Both Pizarro and Cortez were able to defeat these two empires. So now we're going to talk about European nations settling in North America. So after seeing Spain's successful colonization of South America, other European nations are going to decide to want to get in on this. So we're going to have England, France, and the Netherlands. They're going to become interested in establishing colonies of their own. So we're going to have some explorers establish what is called New France. So in 1534, a French explorer by the name of Jacques Cartier, he's going to reach the St. Lawrence River, and he's going to name an island that he comes across Montreal, which later is going to become known as Montreal. And Montreal is located in Canada. So if you look at the map down here, you see New France, which is a great portion of the eastern portion of Canada and some parts of North America around the Great Lakes region. There are still some part of Canada today that speaks French. The French colonists that came to the Americas, they had no desire to build towns. They had no desire to raise families here. They were just in it to make money. When they came over to the Americas, they had found these amazing critters with this beautiful and soft fur, and they wanted these furs to make fur coats, fur hats, fur blankets. And so they ended up killing these animals and stripped them of their pelts. And they brought their pelts back to France, back to Europe, and sold them for a lot of money. This is another reason why fur coats today are quite expensive. It is really nice material, but unfortunately you do have to kill the animal to strip it of its pelt. So the French came to the Americas for money. They did not come here for colonization. All right, the next explorer we need to talk about is Francis Drake. He is going to be an explorer for England during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. Drake is credited with being the second person to successfully circumnavigate the globe, to sail around the globe. Big thing you need to know about Drake, he was a pirate. Kind of like that Captain Jack Sparrow, you know, the guy who wears an eye patch, maybe with a parrot on his shoulder, a peg leg, and goes, "Arr!" and he has a hook hand. Well, that's kind of the pirate I envision. That's not what he looked like, but that's the kind of pirate I like to think of Francis Drake. So Drake, he and his crew would attack ships that were England's rival, such as Spain, And they would take their cargo. So any raw materials, their food, their weapons, anything that was on board that was worth money, they took. Drake is viewed by many as a hero for, taking over England's rival ships. But then other people view him as a criminal because he was a pirate. He would attack ships and steal their goods. However you like to view him. I still like to think of him as an pirate. And here is his route. Take a look. He starts in England. So right here is England. So Drake is going to sail down the Atlantic, across the east coast of South America, around the tip, sail up the coast of South America, the west coast. He's going to go up Mexico, go all the way up North America, and then swing out into the Pacific Ocean. And then, because this is a globe, we wrap all the way around. And here it is, going through that Philippines area. This is around where Magellan had died, where he was killed. Drake is going to go around Africa, swing up the west coast of Africa, and make it all the way back to England. That's it. That's all I have today. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.